The midway point of the 2022 FBS season is upon us. The three preseason college football playoff favorites, Georgia, Ohio State, and Alabama, have yet to lose. A group of challengers has emerged to get into the top four. Week 7 features some high-level matchups that have a chance to reshape the rankings. A college game day battle between number 3 Alabama and number 6 Tennessee is the headliner. Other huge conference matchups include number 10 Penn State at number 5 Michigan, number 8 Oklahoma State at number 13 TCU, and number 7 USC at number 20 Utah. Hello, friends, and welcome to the Week 7 edition of TXN Sports World College Football Thursday. I am your host, Anthony Florio, joined by good old MF Michael Fletcher. We are maybe awaiting the presence of Michael Bullock. If he comes in, we'll catch him up on what he missed. If not, then we'll hopefully have him back with us tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk. But, very light slate this week. We only have 13 games on the docket, this is probably going to be very likely our smallest docket of the season. So 6 of these games are ranked versus ranked matchups. And we have a surprise in the top 25, a team that I don't think we've ever previewed a game for. That changes tonight. So with all that being said, let's dive right on in. The number 2 game of the week is kicking it off. The first of 5 12 noon games that we're going to be getting into. And we can't think of any better way to start this off than the number 5 Michigan Wolverines back at home at Michigan Stadium in the Big House in Ann Arbor, hosting the number 10 Penn State Nittany Lions as part of Big Noon Saturday on Fox. Gus Johnson, Joel Klatt, and the All-American girl Jenny Taft. Michigan opening up as a 7-point favorite. So here we go. This is one of the most underrated games of the week. A battle of 2 undefeated Big Ten teams in the Big House. It will be vital for both to show out and keep pushing toward the conference title. These teams have not faced anyone with top 25 potential. The Wolverines started the season with an impractical offensive plan, playing with 2 quarterbacks. They have their clear number 1 option with J.J. McCarthy, but the offense is still gelling. Michigan has an edge on the Nittany Lions with one of the best running backs in the nation in Blake Corum and a skilled receiver in Ronnie Bell. Penn State's biggest strength in it is its secondary and linebackers under first-year defensive coordinator Manny Diaz. But Michigan has prided itself on having a quality offensive line. Injuries to linemen Ryan Hayes and Carson Barnhart may hurt the offense, but the Wolverines shouldn't get sidetracked by the Nittany Lions, especially at home. Close game, but I think Michigan pulls it out. I'm going to say Michigan wins this game. My final score, 28-24. Michigan sneaks by Penn State, survives Penn State. So there isn't much more to say. MF, for the most part, for your Michigan Wolverines, you boys have had it fairly easy. But now, starting this week, things are about to change. Your first significant, tough test. Number 10, Penn State, coming into the Big House.
Yeah, I don't know if that's really true, Anthony. I mean, we did get pushed by Indiana until Michigan finally dropped the hammer at the end. Maryland was a little bit of a scare for most of the game, not all. So I mean, I think the thing is that Michigan's been able to answer the bell. Has it been perfect? No. There's been some good moments. There's been some very shaky plays. But honestly, I feel like Michigan has been a lot more better, looked a lot more stronger at everything else than they have in recent years. This is the true Michigan Wolverines that we're looking at right now. And the thing is, honestly and truthfully, we're flying under the radar right now because everybody's talking about the Alabamas, everybody's talking about the Georgias, everybody's talking about Ohio States. All right, fine, I'll give you that. Michigan is just moving along, chugging along, lying in the weeds at number 4. And the thing is that we're probably the most underrated number 4 right now in all of college football. And I really feel like we haven't even hit in our stride yet. JJ McCartney has become a star. Blake Corum, he is the heart and soul of the Michigan offense right now. When he gets the rock, when he gets the football, he's a home run hitter waiting to happen. And at the end of the day, I truly believe that we're just getting started. So for me, I get all the hoopla and everything else, but I kind of disagree with the score. I think Michigan's going to win it a little more comfortable than you have it because the same thing. I feel like it's going to be one of those situations where it's going to be tight for three. So, yeah, 28-24, that'll be after three. But then I feel like Michigan will drop the hammer, get an insurance touchdown. I think they get two insurance touchdowns. 38-24, that's your final score. Michigan wins over Penn State. Florio, it's yours.
All right, MF, and you'll be leading off on our next matchup, which features the number 9 Ole Miss Rebels at home at Vaught Hemingway Stadium in Oxford, Mississippi, hosting the Auburn Tigers. And this game will be over on ESPN with Bob Wischusen, MF, your boy, Dan Orlovsky, and Chris Budden. They will be on the call for that one. Ole Miss opening up as a 15-point favorite. And MF, another dark horse SEC team. Ole Miss, number 9.
Yeah, and the reason why that they've been flying on the again another team that's flying under the radar that I think it's time that we put respect on, and that's Ole Miss. Everybody was talking about how they started out so good and so hot and this and that and everything else, and then all of a sudden they kind of faltered a little bit here, and they haven't really been that same squad or the same powerhouse team that they were about a year ago. But I kind of feel like they're getting better. They're hitting their stride. They're looking a lot better now, more than ever before. So I mean, for me, more than anything else, I gotta say, Ole Miss is definitely they're definitely making us look a lot more stronger, a lot more better. So yeah, give me Ole Miss to win it. There's really nothing more to say, Anthony. I'll give it to you. Ole Miss.
Yeah. Just give me a moment here while I find it in my notes here. Okay. These programs are on opposite paths. The Ole Miss Rebels are on the good side of that scenario with a 6-0 record, winning back-to-back conference games. Quarterback Jackson Dart has been decent, with the offense surrounding a two-headed run game from Quinshawn Judkins and Zach Evans. The two have combined for 14 touchdowns and 1,050 yards on 175 attempts. Veteran receivers Jonathan Mingo and Malik Heath are the leading targets facing a weary secondary. Auburn's defensive struggles in the passing game coincides with one of the worst quarterback rooms in the SEC. Their best athletes come at the linebacker position with their 4 leading tacklers, but that didn't stop Georgia from scoring 6 touchdowns on the ground last week. I'm with UMF. I have Ole Miss winning this game as well. My final score, 27-17. Ole Miss defeats Auburn. So not much more to say on that. We move on to our next matchup, which features how about this? The number 19 Kansas Jayhawks on the road against the Oklahoma Sooners at the Gaylord Memorial Family Stadium in Norman, Oklahoma. This game will be over on ESPN2. Dave Fleming, Rod Gilmore, and Tiffany Blackman will be on the call for that one. And Oklahoma. Yeah, Oklahoma opening up as a 9-point favorite. So, okay. We know Kansas has been a great story. That we know. But I think now they're going to start coming crashing back down to reality here. The Kansas Jayhawks, America's team, suffered their first loss of the season last week against TCU. Although the Jayhawks were unable to keep their undefeated record, they proved that they're truly competitive and might have a chance to compete with the big dogs of the Big 12 Conference. One of those big dogs used to include Oklahoma, but the loss of Dylan Gabriel has been detrimental to its success. Kansas has one of the toughest remaining schedules. In addition to this, the Jayhawks are booked to play, get this lineup: Baylor, Oklahoma State, Texas Tech, Texas, and Kansas State after this game with the Sooners. Quarterback Jalen Daniels has been extremely productive, throwing for 11 touchdowns and 1,072 yards, but the Jayhawks will be playing with a backup after the news of Daniels' long-term injury. Gabriel played tremendously for the Sooners prior to his injury, while backup Davis Bevell led Oklahoma straight into the worst loss in program history last weekend. Bevell and OU have no other option but to improve off a 49-0 beatdown shutout at the hands of Texas. With the game being played in Norman and the rush from Kansas to prep a new quarterback this quickly, I think Oklahoma should bounce back. So I'm actually going to call for the upset here. I'm going to say Oklahoma wins this game 24-16. I got Oklahoma beating Kansas. And MF, Kansas, tough loss at home to TCU last week. But man alive, Oklahoma. Oh, whoa. Hoofa. Wow.
If you saw the social media of Kevin Woodson and Dede Woodson, especially last week,
After that dud game.
After that performance.
Unbelievable. 2 years. After 2 years of 5-star classics in that game, we got an absolute
Texas. The thing is this, Anthony. Texas came to play. Texas was sick and tired of hearing from the junk about Oklahoma, and especially after the last year where they spotted them 17 or 21 points and then lost that game. They had enough, and they came out with Bevo, and they basically speared that wagon known as Oklahoma and tipped it over and ran over it a few times at the Cotton Bowl last Saturday. That was without a doubt the most emphatic beatdowns I've ever seen in Red River. Like, I don't even know what else to even say about that Red River rivalry. That was a massacre. Oklahoma will never forget that loss. They will never forget that loss. As much as I know, Texas will never let them live that down for the rest of their days. I will say this. As far as Kansas goes, if they would have had their starter, easily, I would have said Kansas would have won this game easily. But because they're going with a backup quarterback, uncertain, not knowing what they're going to do, and because of the fact that Oklahoma already has their backup, I'm not expecting a shootout. I'm not expecting a 5-star. I think it's going to be close, and I think it's going to be a lot more lower scoring. But I also got to say Oklahoma. And the thing is that I'm not convinced about Oklahoma right now. I think this team is a shell of what they normally would be. I think without a doubt, with all the moves and everything that's been going on, if I would not be shocked if Kansas wins this game. I'm not. I will go Oklahoma as my official prediction, but I'm not 1,000% sure. I'm not like you, Florio. I'm not as confident in Oklahoma than you are about this game. I'm basically going in with 1 foot in, 1 foot out kind of a thing. Oklahoma wins, but not convinced. They got to show me something on Saturday to kind of regain my trust, because they've lost 2 in a row. Remember that. They've lost 2 in a row. They lost once. I think it was to TCU. It was a close loss. No, it wasn't really that close of a loss. And then they got manhandled by Texas. That's 2 straight losses, and they were devastators. I don't know. We'll see. Florio, is yours.
All right, MF, you'll be starting off our next game here. And speaking of the Texas Longhorns, we're going to be talking about them next because they're back in the poll. The now number 22 Texas Longhorns back at home at Darrell K. Royal Memorial Stadium in Austin, Texas. And they're going to be hosting the Cyclones of Iowa State. This game will be over on ABC. And if I remember correctly, yes, it is Mark Jones, Robert Griffin III, and Quint Kestenich on the call for that one. And Texas opening up as a 16-point favorite. All right, MF. Texas back in the poll, rightfully so. Question is, can they keep that momentum going off of that unbelievable win, that most impressive win, that dominant win over Oklahoma in what was an absolute dud of a Red River rivalry this season? I mean, after 2 years of 5-star classics in 2020 and 2021, it ended up being an absolute dud. So, MF, the question I have, very simple. Can Texas keep that momentum up after their most dominant win ever against Oklahoma?
Yes, and I think they will. I think they finally turned the corner. And I really believe that Texas now more than ever, they're going to be very, very, very affable. I think people are going to have to take respect to them and everything else. They're at home. I think they're going to win this one. And I could see this being 2-7, like 2 touchdown, 3 touchdown victory here. But I do got Texas winning, so I got really nothing more to say. So Anthony, it's yours.
All right, MF. Second. Okay, with quarterback Quinn Ewers back in the lineup, the Longhorns look like a completely different team. Ewers has the ability to push the ball downfield and make a defense uncomfortable. In his first game back, Ewers threw for 4 touchdowns and 289 yards. He takes advantage of small mistakes made from defenses, garnering a patience that's rare for such a young athlete. Iowa State is riding a 3-game losing streak, but the positive is that each loss came against a team that's been ranked this season. The Cyclones have a few issues that keep them well outside of the Big 12 title debate, including quarterback Hunter Deckers, who has trouble protecting the ball, and a running back room that can't seem to find its niche. The Iowa State defense has a chance to keep the Cyclones in this game, but Texas has too many offensive weapons to contain. I got Texas winning this one as well. I'm with UMF. Final score for me, 35-17, Texas, all over Iowa State. So I believe we have one more high noon game here, and yes, we do. We have a new entrant, the first of a few new entrants into the top 25. And look who's in the top 25. And I know our dear friend Matt Ward, I know he's got to be happy about this. The now number 24 Illinois Fighting Illini. They're back in the top 25, and they're going to be hosting the Golden Gophers of Minnesota. This game will be over on the Big Ten Network, for those of you who have it. And on that call will be Brandon Gaudin, Jake Butt, and Rick Pizzo. They will have the call for that one. And Minnesota actually opening up as a 6.5-point favorite. This is a battle of 2 run-heavy teams. Gophers running back Mohamed Ibrahim has already notched 8 touchdowns and 567 yards this season. He has the help of a quality quarterback in Tanner Morgan and a group of unselfish receivers that have helped push the team toward a 4-1 record. That loss for Minnesota came 2 weeks ago, just before taking a bye last week. The Gophers being able to rest their workhorse running back isn't great news for an Illinois fan. With that said, the Fighting Illini have a top-notch running back of their own in Chase Brown, who's been one of the most consistent offensive weapons in the country. Brown has over 100 rushing yards in every game this season, including a 199-yard game in Week 1. He'll go against a well-organized defense on Saturday. With the bye week on their side, the Gophers should be considered the favorite, even while playing on the road. I'm going to call for another upset here. I'm going to say Minnesota steals one in Illinois at the University of Illinois Memorial Stadium in Champaign, Illinois. I say Minnesota steals it, and I say it'll be a last. I could see it coming down to a last-second field goal. I really could. 26-24. Give me Minnesota to upset Illinois. But if Illinois were to win, I wouldn't be surprised. But I think Minnesota is just a smidgen better. So I'm going with Minnesota 26-24. AMF, look at this. A rare sleeper matchup in your Big Ten.
Yeah, rare sleeper matchup, no doubt about it. I think this is going to be a very good game. Like you said, I think Minnesota definitely has a great chance of winning this game. With a lot of things that's been going down lately, I kind of feel like this could be their moment to really shine. But remember, they did lose their last game, and they lost to Purdue. So could that have been a little bit of could that have been just a blip? Maybe just a bad day in the office? Or is this a sign of things to come? For Illinois, look, not the most dominating performance. They did win ugly game over Iowa, 9-6. But those kind of wins is wins that you really kind of keep your eyes open more than anything else. So I'll go with Minnesota, but I'm not at 100% with that. Like you said, if Illinois wins, no shocker here. So this could go a number of ways, but I'm going to go with Minnesota as well. I'll agree with you. All right, Anthony. Well, I know now it's time to get into the 3:30 slate. Unfortunately, the first game, not a great matchup to get ourselves to whet our appetite to.
Yeah, no. We're done with the noon games. We're on to the 3:30 games. MF will be starting off on this first one. We got 4 of them, 4 in the 3:30 window. This is the only bad one. The other 3 all have potential, especially the one following this. But here we go. 3:30 kickoffs now, and we move on to the new number 1 team in all the land. Your reigning, defending, undisputed college football playoff national champion, Maiden Georgia Bulldogs, back at home at Sanford Stadium, hosting in Athens, Georgia, hosting the Commodores of Vanderbilt. This game will be over on the SEC Network with Taylor Zarzar, Matt Stinchcomb, and Alyssa Lang. Georgia is the biggest favorite of the week. Georgia is opening up as a 38-point favorite. I wonder who we're going with here, MF.
Yeah, there's no big surprise here. This is Georgia's game. This is going to be pretty much an easy performance for them. Just another layup for them, more than anything else. And then, of course, for Georgia, after that, then they got a pretty good one next week at the Hedges, or in a couple of weeks at the Hedges, where Florida comes a knocking. And that one could be more interesting more than anything else. So
that's the world's largest outdoor cocktail party, MF.
Yeah, that is
Jacksonville.
Yeah, at TIAA Bank Stadium. Yeah. So you know, anytime that game happens, that could go a number of ways. But we'll have to wait and see. So yeah, nothing more to say. And I do have I got Georgia winning pretty handily. So go ahead.
Georgia enters week 7 as the new number 1 team in the country after a blowout win against Auburn. The Bulldogs have yet to face a legitimate opponent in conference play, and this will not be the week it happens. Vanderbilt has improved from previous seasons, but it's nowhere near ready to make this competitive. The Commodores' offense has taken a huge step forward, averaging 33.2 points a game. In Athens, they may score around 20 points and walk away with their 3rd straight loss in 4th and 5 games. Quarterback Stetson Bennett and the Bulldogs' offense have been underwhelming, but the UGA defense has allowed just 10.7 points a game. The Bulldogs don't have the same dominating demeanor as last year, but their focus is on piling up commanding wins to impress the selection committee and punch their ticket to the playoff once again. Easy win for Georgia. Made in Georgia, they roll. 44-20. Georgia all over Vandy. And now, MF, it's time for the main event. The main event of Week 7, the game of the week. The number 3, Alabama Crimson Tide. The now number 3, Alabama Crimson Tide. On the road against the number 6, Tennessee Volunteers at Neyland Stadium in Knoxville, Tennessee. And to make it even bigger, it's the SEC on CBS. And you know who works that. Brad Nessler, Gary Danielson, Jenny Dell, and Alabama opening up as only a 7-point favorite. Respectable. Can't believe it. But prior to the start of the season, Alabama's schedule was highlighted by its Week 6 matchup against Texas A&M. While the contest was exciting, a true test for both the Crimson Tide and Volunteers awaits in their meeting at Neyland Stadium. Alabama is 6-0, but Tennessee has proved to be a college football playoff threat with puzzle pieces coming together. The Vols have yet to face a team as seasoned as the Tide, but Tennessee has the benefit of playing in front of one of the best crowds in college football. Alabama quarterback Bryce Young will be the headliner after missing last week with a shoulder injury. Tennessee has a talented signal caller of its own in redshirt senior Hendon Hooker, who has exceeded expectations. If Young suits up, the Tide should win. But if he is sidelined, it's the Vols' game to lose. But I'm going to go with Alabama. I say Alabama will find a way and they'll eke this one out. 31-24. I got Bama beating Tennessee, but it all rests on Bryce Young. If Bryce Young goes, Bama wins. If he doesn't, we got potential for a massive upset here. So, and the biggest win in Tennessee football in what has been forever and a day for that program. College Game Day is going to be there. Peyton Manning is going to be the guest picker. Can you imagine him and Pat McAfee in the same area? That's going to be hella fun. So there isn't much more to say on that. 31-24, I'm going with Bama for now. So MF, as I always like to say, in the immortal words of Jesse the Body Ventura, this is what the words main event were meant for, because this right here is the main event of week number 7, and brother, it don't get no bigger.
It don't, and this is the moment this is a defining moment for Alabama. This is a defining moment for Tennessee, because the winner of this game really controls their destiny more than anything else. A loss will be bad for either team because it hurts their chances at the college football playoff. However, at the end, only one can stand. And it all hinders on Bryce Young. If Young cannot play, Tennessee walks out of Neyland Stadium with the W, with the stampede, and with them slaying the dragon known as Alabama. If they don't, if Young does play, I think Alabama narrowly gets out of Neyland with the victory more than anything else. But ultimately, in my heart of hearts, I think this is the moment Bama falls. I just feel like Tennessee is got the offense and the defense that can match up with Bama's talent. Stride for stride. It will be one of those games that could come down to the very end. And I'm actually going to say it. This is going to end up being a game-winning field goal to win it for Tennessee. 24-21, Tennessee knocks off Alabama with the upset, and it's going to have a ripple effect all over the place in the rest of the college football landscape. Anthony, it's yours.
And we have a final from Thursday Night Football. Yeah, another scintillating matchup. Yeah, right. The Washington Commanders have defeated the Chicago Bears. Final score 12-7. Very questionable last one, but at the end of the day, the Commanders steal one at Soldier Field, 12-7. the Washington Commanders over the Chicago Bears. We're going to have another brief recap, and I do mean brief recap because there was, just like with last week's game, there's going to be nothing worth recapping about this, really. So, another blech game, but, it is what it is, whatever. So, but help is on the way next week because DeAndre Hopkins is coming back. So, that's going to be a major difference. And we'll get into that on Wednesday. But for right now, let's get on to our next game, which MF will be leading off on. Another ranked versus ranked matchup in the 3:30 window. The number 8 Oklahoma State Cowboys on the road against the number 13 TCU Horned Frogs, Amon G. Carter Stadium in Fort Worth, Texas. This game will be over on ABC with Sean McDonough, Todd Blackledge, and Molly McGrath. TCU opening up as a 4-point favorite. So MF, huge game in the Big 12. Major Big 12 implications here. Number 8 Oklahoma State, number 13 TCU. Toughest test today for Oklahoma State, and TCU looks to keep their momentum going after that big win in Kansas last week.
Absolutely, and I do believe that this is going to be both teams have been really good so far, and like you said, this is going to be a major test for both teams. I gotta go TCU though. They got the hot hand right now. So at the end, I'm gonna say I got TCU winning the matchup. I think it's gonna be high scoring too, man. They got the over under at 68 points. 68. So they're already thinking high 40s for both teams. If that thing goes over 68, I would be like, oh my God. But I got to say, it's going to be close. But I got TCU pulling off the upset. I think they take down Oklahoma State. So, Florio, it's yours.
The state of Oklahoma has a new sheriff in town, the Oklahoma State Cowboys. With the Sooners falling outside of the top 25, it's time for Oklahoma State to get its credit. The Cowboys have yet to lose a game this season, fielding an incredible offense with star quarterback Spencer Sanders. The redshirt senior rallies an undervalued team with his consistent production every week. Sanders has thrown for 12 touchdowns and 1,394 yards with just two interceptions. There's nothing jaw-dropping about the Cowboys, but they play clean football and tackle well. Sanders is basically the all-purpose tool for the Cowboys, adding 6 rushing touchdowns and 241 yards on the ground. TCU quarterback Max Duggan is another offensive head that has displayed phenomenal passing ability. Duggan has 14 touchdowns and 1,305 passing yards. He's done nearly everything right to uplift the Horned Frogs into Big 12 title contenders. TCU also has a great group of linebackers with D. Winters leading the way. That may be the best in the conference. It'll be interesting to see how Sanders operates against an all-around great team. Once again, MF, I'm with you. I'm calling for the upset here once again. I don't know if it's going to be as high scoring as the experts think or you think, but I think it's going to be a good scoring game here. I say TCU will win. I agree with you on that. My final score, 34-26. I got TCU defeating Oklahoma State. So not much more to say on that. Let's move on to our final 3:30 matchup. And this is the sleeper game of the week right here. This is a game that, on paper doesn't look all that appealing, but after the body of work of both of these teams recently, it just became intriguing. The number 15 North Carolina State Wolfpack on the road against the now number 18, if you can believe this, number 18 Syracuse Orange at the Carrier Dome, the legendary Carrier Dome in Syracuse. And this game will be on the ACC network with Mike Monaco, Tim Hasselbeck, and Kelsey Riggs. And Syracuse opening up as a 3.5-point favorite. So quarterback Devin Leary and the Wolfpack started the season 4-0 for the first time since 2018. After their win against UConn in late September, things have gone mostly downhill. They were able to secure a win against Florida State last week, but that came with the cost of Leary going down with an injury. A week before that, they were handed their first loss of the season against Clemson. This week, they'll look to give Syracuse its first loss. NC State played a majority of the second half against FSU with backup quarterback Jack Chambers. He attempted only one pass, but he did help the Wolfpack come from behind to win by rushing for 39 yards. If Leary stays sidelined and Chambers has the spotlight on him, I think it's Syracuse's game to lose. The Orange are 5-0 on the season, and that's not a fluke. They have an incredible run game with their quarterback, Garrett Schrader, and running back Sean Tucker, which will be key to making NC State's defense uncomfortable. The Wolfpack have arguably the best linebacker room in the nation with the trio of Isaiah Moore, Peyton Wilson, and Drake Thomas. So this should be a fun clash. I'm gonna call for the upset here. I'm going with Syracuse. I say Syracuse, and especially at the Carrier Dome, I got to go with Syracuse. And I think Syracuse will pull it out. 30-20. Syracuse upsets NC State. But it all depends on Devin Leary for NC State. If he goes, maybe NC State wins it. But if he doesn't, it's the Orange. So Syracuse wins 30-20. MF, how about that Orange? Syracuse, number 18, and their biggest game in the Carrier Dome, non-basketball, maybe ever? I don't know.
I think I think you got to go back to like maybe the early 90s, maybe even the late 90s when they were going up against teams like Miami. I think that's kind of been one of their last major battles that I can remember. I think it has to go back to the days when Donovan McNabb was the star quarterback for Syracuse, if I remember correctly. I think that's the last time I can remember that Syracuse was even this relevant in college football. So, I mean, yeah, without a doubt. Not an easy game, not an easy matchup. Going up against NC State, I got to say it. I think it's going to happen. I got Syracuse winning. I believe the hype. I believe everything that they brought to the table. I think Syracuse is going to win the game. So, yeah, Anthony, it's yours.
All right, MF, we're gonna make some history now. We're gonna talk about a team that I don't think we've ever talked about on this program since we started this program about 8 or so years ago. We're about to talk about a team that has cracked the top 25 for the first time in school history. And we're going to have some fun with this.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. So here we go. Welcome to the top 25 for the first time in school history, the Dukes of James Madison. That's right. James Madison is number 25. And they're going to be going on the road against the Eagles of Georgia Southern at Allen E. Paulson Stadium in Statesboro, Georgia. That's where it is. And you can find this game over on ESPN Plus. It's a 4:00 kickoff, by the way. ESPN Plus will have it. And on the call for that one will be Danny Waugh, Cole Neely, and Emily Grace McWhorter. And James Madison opening up as an 11.5-point favorite. MF, James Madison making history. First top 25 ranking in school history. Can they keep their momentum going?
Yeah, I know. Don't really know much about the team. I guess that's the key word of the night is that normally we get relative unknown, and then there's moments where we get teams that are out of nowhere, flying under the radar, and we welcome. Well, here it is. This is the moment we've been waiting for. So there's really nothing more for me to say. This was exactly what it needed it to be. So welcome, James Madison. Welcome to the party. And yeah, I believe that they're going to win it. So this should be an easy way to get out. Nothing more to say. And yeah, well, welcome, Michael Bullock. Anthony, you got a lot of catching up to do with them.
Indeed, I do. And Michael Bullock, come on in. Let's get you caught up here on the slate. We start off with the number 5 Michigan Wolverines at home against the number 10 Penn State Nittany Lions in the number 2 game of the week.
Oh boy. here it is, early October, Florio, and we got ourselves a big game in the Big Ten. I mean, man, this is all I can say is this is going to be one hell of a game here. But I'll tell you what, Florio, if this were in Penn State, I would have called up. I would have called for the upset. But it's in the Big House. I gotta go with Michigan to win this one. I'm going to say my final score is going to be 27-24 Michigan in overtime.
Ooh, OT. Okay. Number
I mean,
9.
that's just how close that these two are. So that's why I think Penn State's going to take them to the very end.
All right. Number 9, Ole Miss Rebels at home against the Auburn Tigers.
Oh, the Ole Miss Rebels all the way on this one.
The number 19, Kansas Jayhawks on the road against the Oklahoma Sooners.
Oh, I got to go with Kansas in this one. I mean, in the past, I would have said maybe Oklahoma would have a chance, but yeah, it's going to be Kansas winning this one.
The number 22 Texas Longhorns back at home hosting the Iowa State Cyclones.
Yeah, I got to go with the Texas Longhorns in this one.
And the final 12 noon game, the now number 24 Illinois Fighting Illini at home hosting the Golden Gophers of Minnesota.
Yeah, I mean, welcome to the top 25, Illinois, and I think they're going to stay here because I got them winning this one.
Okay. 3:30 games now. The number 1 team in all the land, the new number 1, the reigning national champion, Maiden Georgia Bulldogs, at home against the Vanderbilt Commodores, where they're only a 38-point favorite.
Ouch. That's, yeah. It's going to be the Maine Georgia Bulldogs all day on this one.
The game of the week, the main event. Number 3, Alabama, at number 6, Tennessee, the SEC on CBS.
Yeah, and it's so big on this one, as we found out on your the TXN Sports World page. No better guest celebrity picker than probably one of the greatest players in the history of the Tennessee Volunteers. Peyton Manning is going to be the guest picker on this one. If that doesn't tell you how big,
Him and Pat McAfee at the same desk. Oh my goodness, that's going to be fun.
Oh yeah, man, this is a tough one here. I mean, this is one that could go all the way. This could go either way. You know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to call for the upset here. I'm going with Tennessee to upset Alabama. I mean, they're playing at home. I mean, this is a big game for them, and I think they're going to rise to the occasion and upset the Alabama Crimson Tide. It ain't going to be roll tide, roll this time. And what I think they should do if Tennessee wins, Florio, I think they need to go back to the old days and have Peyton Manning conduct the band.
Okay. The number 8 Oklahoma State Cowboys at the number 13 TCU Horned Frogs.
Now, where's TCU ranked?
13.
All right. Again, this is another good matchup here. I mean, this could be another close one, but I got to go with Oklahoma State. I think this is going to be a real close one here.
And the sleeper game of the week, the number 15 NC State Wolfpack against the number 18 Syracuse Orange.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a sleeper game here, no doubt about it. I mean, this is another close one here, another one that I think could go down to the wire here too. But in the end, I got to go with the NC State Wolfpack to win this one.
And the game that MF just started on, and now we're going to get your thoughts on it. It's a 4 o'clock game. First time in school history in the top 25, the number 25 James Madison Dukes on the road against the Georgia Southern Eagles. James Madison, an 11.5-point favorite.
Man, I mean, what a moment for James Madison. I mean, to be in the top 25 for the first time. I mean, what a moment for this team, and I got to go with James Madison to win this one.
All right, you're all caught up, and now I'll take it from here. If you've never heard of the James Madison Dukes, now you have. It's their first season in the FBS, and they've already made a lasting statement. The Dukes are 5-0 with impactful wins against Appalachian State, Middle Tennessee, and Arkansas State. Their offense has been incredible throughout the season, averaging 44.2 points. If they want to keep their name in national headlines, they need to continue steamrolling their way through their Sun Belt opponents. The Dukes will be playing against a Georgia Southern team that suffered back-to-back losses by 8 points or fewer. Even with Georgia Southern's home field advantage, look for James Madison to score efficiently and advance to 6-0. I got James Madison winning this game as well. My final score, 35-21, James Madison over Georgia Southern. 3 games left, gentlemen, and we move on to the first of 2 7:30 kickoffs, and we move on now to the ABC Saturday night game of the week. The number 4 Clemson Tigers on the road against the Florida State Seminoles, Doak Campbell Stadium in Tallahassee, Florida, on ABC, and it's the ABC Saturday night game of the week. And yes, they will be there. Chris Fowler, Kirk Herbstreit, and Holly Rowe. And on ESPN2, you can watch Pat McAfee and assorted guests. So there you go. So Fowler and Herbie and Holly Rowe will be there for number 4 Clemson at Florida State. The ABC Saturday night game of the week, Clemson opening up as a 3.5-point favorite. And Michael Bullock, we started off with you. Number 4 Clemson on the road at Florida State. Tough game for them.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough game. I mean, I know not many people think that this is going to be an easy one for Clemson. Oh no, I mean, Florida State is definitely going to give them all they can handle on their home field. But in the end, I gotta go with the Clemson Tigers. I mean, Florida State is definitely going to give them some fits throughout the game, but I just think in the end, Clemson's just going to prove to be too much here. So Clemson wins this one. I'm going to go 24-21 is my final score.
All right. Florida State shot into the season like a cannonball, winning its first 4 games. That fire, however, has been erased with back-to-back losses against ranked Wake Forest and North Carolina State. Clemson and FSU are on completely different paths, with the Tigers gaining confidence and momentum. With the Noles' depleted defensive line and question marks at receiver, there's not much hope at seeking a college football playoff spot. Head coach Dabo Swinney and the Tigers should march into Tallahassee with their eyes locked on keeping an undefeated record and top 4 ranking. This is arguably Clemson's most difficult remaining game, but it shouldn't be overwhelming. The Tigers have a forceful defensive line that will feast against the Seminoles, and they also have a dual-threat offense with strong backs. If Florida State can stay competitive in the trenches, it may be able to make this a game, but it has looked too drained to win this fight. I think Clemson pulls it out. Clemson steals one at Florida State in Tallahassee. So final score for me, I got Clemson winning this one, 34-24. Clemson over Florida State. I think it'll be close going into the 4th, but I say Clemson puts it away with a late score. So 34-24, Clemson defeats Florida State. MF, Clemson, Florida State, the ABC Saturday night game of the week.
Yeah, this is going to be a good one, man. Very excited for it. I got Clemson as well. I think they're going to win this game. Florida State's going to make a game out of it, but I think Clemson pulls away at the end. So give me the Clemson Tigers to win it as well. So nothing more to say.
2 games left, gentlemen, and we move on to the next game, the other 7:30 kickoff. Another ranked matchup, as it will feature the number 16 Mississippi State Bulldogs on the road against the now number 22 Kentucky Wildcats from Kroger Field in Lexington, Kentucky. This game will be over on the SEC Network with Tom Hart, Jordan Rogers, and Cole Kubelik. Mississippi State opening up as a 4-point favorite. So let me get into this one here. All right, here we go. The Bulldogs were one of the biggest risers in the latest AP Top 25 poll, moving up 7 spots. Quarterback Will Rogers leads the nation in passing yards with 2,110, and he's number 2 in passing touchdowns with 22. This matchup has a chance to be a high-scoring game with 2 talented quarterbacks. On Kentucky's side, Will Levis takes the snaps, but is he really the best Will in the conference? He's had a solid year with 12 touchdowns and 1,405 yards, but right now there's no comparison. Rodgers needs to keep the ball rolling after helping the Bulldogs win 3 straight games, 2 of which were against talented conference opponents. Mississippi State is on its way up the rankings and won't stop here against an overvalued Wildcats team. I'm going with Mississippi State to steal one in Lexington. 27-23, Mississippi State knocks off Kentucky. So not much more to say here. MF, Mississippi State and Kentucky, another sleeper matchup on the SEC Network Saturday night. MF, are you there? All right. Okay, there's MF. All right, MF. Number 16, Mississippi State. Number 22, Kentucky.
Yes, Kentucky's the losers of 2 in a row. Mississippi State playing with the hot hand, especially after their last game over Arkansas. And I gotta go with Mississippi State. I think they're poised for a huge run now. You know, there's some good matchups for Mississippi State coming up. You got Kentucky, then you got Alabama right behind that. So I mean, there's a murderer's row coming up for them. You got Kentucky, Bama, Auburn, Georgia in that particular order. So we're gonna find out where Mississippi State is and where they line this season. I'm gonna go with Mississippi State to win. I kind of started to lose a little bit of that feeling for Kentucky. They lost 2 in a row. They were bad losses. So, yeah, give me Mississippi State to win. Bullock, go.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Kentucky has lost 2 in a row, while Mississippi State, they're on a bit of a win streak here. So, yeah, I gotta go with Mississippi State to win this one. So, yeah, there's nothing more for me to say. So, Florio, one more game.
One more game on this very short docket this week. And we started it with a big game, and we're closing it with a big game. We started it with a big game in the Big Ten. How about a big game in the Pac-12? 8 o'clock kickoff on Fox. The number 7 USC Trojans on the road against the number 20 Utah Utes at Rice-Eccles Stadium in Salt Lake City, Utah. Jason Benetti, Brock Heward, Allison Williams will be on the call. And Utah opening up as a 3.5-point favorite. MF, massive, and I mean massive, Pac-12 implications. Toughest test without a doubt for USC. They got to go on the road against a very good Utah team. And I think if any team in the top 25 should be on high upset alert, without a doubt, it's got to be the USC Trojans. Going into Salt Lake City. Wow. All right, MF, here we go. Pac-12. The Pac-12. This is it. Can USC keep their magical season going? Or does Utah bring USC crashing back down to reality? All right. I don't know. All right, MF, are you there? I know he's probably getting he wants to get some notes ready, I'm sure. All right, here we go. All right, MF. Number 7, USC. Number 20, Utah. What a way to close out this abbreviated week.
Yeah, abbreviated week, no doubt about it. And the thing is that a lot of people are thinking Utah's going to win this game. And the reason why is really kind of more or less because of the injuries, you know, with Michael Jackson not playing. He hasn't been a factor in the last few games, but the thing is that we're going to have to wait and see how he does. And this is a major test. A major test for USC. They've been living a little dangerously lately. Utah is starting to looks like they're starting to hit their stride a little bit. But the thing is that whenever you get these big matchups, and now you're getting almost into the heart of the order here. This is without a doubt the biggest test. And it's Provo, Utah. And Utah is really good, but they did lose last week. They lost to UCLA. That was a major loss. Now we got to see where they're at. We got to see where they stand. Was that just a blip? Was that just a bad night in the office? Or is Utah really for real? They're undefeated. They have not lost at Rice Eccles Stadium this season. They're 3-0. At the end of the day, I gotta go USC. I don't know why. I just feel like USC. I feel like they're back. I feel like this is the classic USC. There's really nothing more for me to say. So, Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, this is another tough one for me to call here. I mean, a lot of people, like you said, they're going with the Utah Utes here to pull off the upset, but I don't know. There's just something about USC that makes me feel like that they're going to somehow pull this one out. So, this is not an easy call here, but I'm going to go with Fletch here, and I'm going to go with USC, but I think they're going to barely hold on to win this one. But if Utah pulls off the upset, I would not be surprised. So, it's yours, Florio.
The Trojans have yet to lose a game with a brand new coaching staff and offensive system. As one of the best quarterbacks in the country, Oklahoma transfer Caleb Williams continuously lights up defenses with his Heisman candidate performances. Williams has thrown for 14 touchdowns and 1,590 yards with only one interception. USC's offense has the ability to erupt with Williams and playmakers Jordan Addison and Mario Williams. Their offensive weapons make them favorites against a streaky Utah team that has had difficulties on the defensive end. Utah has the ability to make this a scoring showcase, and hopefully that will come to fruition. The Utes are averaging just over 40 points on the year, and the Trojans are rarely a team that sleeps on the offensive end. The dynamic safety duo of R.J. Hubert and Cole Bishop highlights the Utah defense, and linebacker Eric Gentry holds it down for USC. I agree with you guys. I'm going with USC to win this game as well. My final score, I'm going to say 37-31. USC outlasts Utah at Rice Eccles Stadium on Saturday night. So with that will put the bow on this short docket of Week 7 of TXN Sports World College Football Thursday. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in as always. We'll be back with you tomorrow night, 11 p.m. over on MF's channel, Brace Fan 95, for another edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk. As we will have Friday Night SmackDown, we will have AEW Rampage, and in a rare Mikey's mindset, MF is going to preview Triple Mania. You're not going to want to miss that. Saturday, 10:30, right back here on the Tone 25. It's the Week 6 edition of TXN Sports World NFL Saturday. We'll briefly recap the Thursday night game with the Washington Commanders and the Chicago Bears. Bye week start this week, and we got 4 teams on bye, but we got a double main event. The Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday Night Football, but the real game of the week, the rematch of the greatest NFL playoff game of all time, my Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs, the Tony and Mikey game of the year up to this point. So we're going to have a lot to say about that one. You best believe it.
Florio, how about we make it the Tony, Mikey, and Bullock game of the week?
Tony, Mikey, and Bullock game of the week. Absolutely. Yes, I'm right there with you, Bullock. Yes, absolutely. So that's how big it is. So we'll have it all. So with that, and then that'll be on Saturday, and then Monday we do it all again, Ridiculously Raw, and that's it. So then Wednesday Night Madness, of course, and then next week here on College Football Thursday, Looks like it's another short week, but we got some more exciting matchups, guys. Listen to the lineup next week if it holds up. Syracuse against Clemson, Iowa and Ohio State. We got Kansas against Baylor, Texas and Oklahoma State, UCLA and Oregon, Ole Miss and LSU, Mississippi State and Alabama, Minnesota and Penn State, and Kansas State and TCU. But we'll see what happens. Or we'll wait and see how the results play out and which games we'll have next week. So that's it. So until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk over on MX channel, Racefan 95, Anthony Florio here for good old MF Michael Fletcher, for Michael Bullock, and in spirit, of course, the First Lady, always and forever, Dee Dee Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up, Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Friday. And until tomorrow night, for the Cerebral Smack Talk, you've been watching the Week 7 edition of TXN Sports World College Football Thursday right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long, and bye, everybody, bye.